fence, and his name was Tom, and he did a lot of work for us, most recently over at the Living and Learning Center, UVM. And what that boiled down to was uneven terrain and a mobile elevated work platform, man basket, boom lift, and he wasn't tied in, and it ended up costing him his life. So our thoughts are with his family and everybody that he worked with, and we just want to make sure that we're learning from this anytime that something hits so close to home. So like I said, today we're going to learn about mobile elevated work platforms, specifically scissor lifts and boom lifts. So any hazards that we have associated with mobile elevated work platforms are falls, objects falling, tip overs, structural failures, electrical shock, entanglement, and ejections from the lift. So you must be trained and authorized to use them. You want to contact the safety teams, no matter myself, if you have any training needs for either training or just follow-up stuff. So fall protection is the biggest thing. And a lot of people always ask, well, why do I need to wear a harness when I'm in a boom lift, but not in a scissor lift? And the big difference is you're way out away from the base, right? So if there's a small elevation change and that's 60 feet away from where your man basket is, that's going to be a lot more than a small elevation change at the basket. So what happens is they can almost turn into catapults and launch you out. So it's super important that we're wearing our harnesses and that we're tying into approved lift tie-off points on the baskets. Want to stand firmly on the floor and only tie off to those manufactured points. And we do not tie off to adjacent structures. It's important to point out on both of these that if you're on an approved tie-off point, that only covers you for inside the basket, not for outside the basket. And for scissor lifts, you want to always stand firmly on the floor, and fall protection may be necessary in certain situations. The big one that comes to mind is if you get a rental, some of them in the manual says that they do require them, believe it or not. But as a general rule, scissor lifts do not require them. But stick to the manufacturer recommendations. So operation and traveling with them do not exceed the load capacity limits. They all have placards. If placards are worn out, let somebody know. Do not exceed vertical or horizontal reach limits. You want to keep them away from overhead power lines. And that's something that we really want to survey before we go and even start the list. We want to look around at all our overhead hazards. Because other than coming out of the basket, which happens time to time and more frequently than it really should in the US, coming into contact with power lines is definitely the most dangerous thing. We do not want to override any safety devices on these. If there's a safety device that's getting hung up for one reason or another, we want to let the shop know so that way we can get it fixed. That way the safety devices can actually do their job. We want to keep the lift on level ground at all times. And our best practices are to run our mobile elevated work platforms to a range of full functions while close to the ground and before we get going. We want to ensure they're fueled up before they're used. It's a good way to get stuck up in the air. And we want to take our time. If you don't run them or use them frequently, we want to go nice and slow so we're not damaging the lift ourselves or what we're working around. I saw a laughing face pop up there, so somebody must know the story there. So, like I said, the big thing is just make sure we're doing the right thing with these man lifts. They're very dangerous, and this one hit really close to home for a lot of people here at ECI. So with that, I'll kick it over to Matt.
Yeah, you got me now, Tom? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, apologize for the issues there we're having with Teams. One thing that Tom mentioned that it is important that we also have a rescue plan in place to get someone down safely if there is issues or someone's dangling from the basket in their personal fall arrest system. So we also need to have rescue plans for mobile elevated work platforms. Safety will help with that. It's pretty straightforward. A lot of it is emergency devices right on the machine itself. Go to ground control so you can lower the basket. But again, if there's mechanical issues, we need to have a plan in place. So yeah, let's please make sure that we're not taking unnecessary risk inside mobile elevated work platforms. A lot of fatalities throughout the industry over the last 10 years because of people really taking on too much risks in these machines, getting a little too comfortable. All right, let's share some screens here. Hopefully we'll get the email up. Can everybody see the weekly email?
Yes, it can.
Yeah. All right, Tom, thanks on that. Code of conduct for this upcoming week is to promote the code, support, and actively encourage our standards. See someone falling short, let's remind them. Let's get them back in line with the code of conduct. Quick ownership topic of the week by Ben Dow. How can we boost motivation? Let's take pride in our work. Our well-being begins with recognize the values of the work we do each day and appreciate our individual contributions. Take pride in our work, improves productivity, strengthens teamwork, and inspires success in one another. Own your work, be responsible and accountable. Focus on your priorities of safety, quality, and efficiently in every task. Value your daily contributions, no matter how small they seem. Learn from failures and always strive to improve. Stay positive and support each other. Taking pride in our work makes us safer, stronger, more efficient, and happier, and inspires us to perform at our best every day. As employee owners, every thoughtful action we take reflects our commitment to one another and to continue success at Engineers Construction. So I thought that was a really good one by Mr. Dow. Equipment, we do have a fuel reminder. I'm not going to read all of this, but this was kind of eye-opening for me. We spent about 100,000 in June in fuel. It's a big number. And then we at the global fuel depots on Industrial and over at Marshall behind the office here in Williston, we get roughly $3.08 a gallon for 87 octane. And then you got a list here of probably places that we fill up quite a bit. And we're probably, when we go to those locations, we're probably spending around $1 or more on fuel. So a way as employee owners where we can save a lot of money is by planning ahead and really prioritizing the global field depots, because we're saving a lot of money doing that. Granted, those out of town jobs, it is what it is. But if we can try to fuel up on Mondays and Fridays and do what we can there, will significantly help us down the road. Similar difference exists between diesel, off-road diesel, and utilizing those bulk tanks by Roberts is similar cost to the global. So again, what we can do utilizing those is also going to help. And then lastly, try to carpool as much as we can out there. If we don't need to have 5 or 6 pickup trucks on a site, let's try to carpool as best we can, because again, that is adding to that overall monthly fuel bill. So that was a really good example for a way that we can be good employee owners and taking care of our equipment, but also remembering where we should be filling up day in and day out as much as we can. No corporate announcements this week. We did have a recent promotion. Congratulations to Chandler Lesperance down in West Leb. You got promoted to foreman. Congratulations, Chandler. Did have 2 new employments join the team this week. We have Jake Jerome, son. We have a father-daughter, or father-son, sorry, combo with Jake Jerome coming in on the concrete side. So welcome, Jake. And then we have Patrick Dane Dickinson, a laborer down in West Lab, joining the heavy civil team. So if you see them, shake a hand, introduce yourself, and welcome to the team. Hopefully the first week was good. Jeremy Dean, are you out there?
He's not, but I am, Matt.
Oh, Ed. Welcome in, Ed. Do you want me to drive?
No, I've got the email up. My audio My audio's goofed up on my laptop, so I'm talking to my phone right now, but I got my email up. So yeah, this week's project of the week is the Velco Sandbar substation project in Milton, Vermont. ECI was hired by Velco to perform an expansion of an existing substation in Milton. The project consists of the construction of new gravel access roads, staging areas, 112 new concrete foundations, the installation of vertical pole cans and anchors, new perimeter fencing, installation of thousands of feet of copper ground cable, ground rods, and new conduit. Portions of the work are located within the existing substation. Inside the substation, we are required to first hydro excavate the conduit grade in a grid pattern to locate all of the utilities. We hired Badger Excavation to perform this work. After gridding, we are able to use excavators that are connected to the ground grid inside the yard. So all of our equipment needs to be grounded itself before we do any work. To date, we've installed two foundations inside the existing yard and excavated for conduit and grounding to the main control building. We subcontracted with Reset Electric to do all of the grounding and conduit work. The majority of the project is located outside of the existing substation yard in the new expansion, where we got to cut the waste of about 14,000 yards of material. Most of the material sand. Some areas have ledge, which we had to take some out with a hammer to put the pole cans in. And pole cans, those are installed like 12 feet deep. They're 48-inch diameter corrugated metal pipe pole cans in the ground, in which Velco will install new galvanized utility poles to replace the existing wooden poles. These poles are will support the 115,000 volt transmission lines that are going to enter the substation. We installed a mix of log anchors and grouted rock anchors for guy anchors to support the new poles. The rock anchors were drilled with the TEI drill and post grouted. So all the anchors are in now. We completed the new gravel access road. It's a 20-foot wide road and with 18 inches of dense grade. And we began installing the concrete foundations inside the new yard, including one foundation that had 50 yards of concrete with an assembly of 12 anchor bolts that required custom fabricated chairs to support the steel anchor bolt cage. Most of the rest of the concrete foundations are 3 to 6 cubic yards each. Next week, Velco is going to de-energize the existing transmission lines, drop them down, and relocate the lines to the new steel poles and re-energize this. So after this, we'll be able to get back into the existing expansion and continue construction. So yeah, they're relocating a bunch of overhead lines on new poles that we helped get ready. So we're at a little bit of a bottleneck right now. Their outage is scheduled for this coming Monday, and they're supposed to do all their relocation work by Wednesday. So by then we'll be able to get back into the existing yard, even the expansion yard, because that's where the existing lines are, so we can continue our work. But here we are. I think this is Nick LeClaire. This is in the existing yard where we're back excavating for a couple of new foundations, which are going to serve the existing control building for a new service there. Here we are excavating for the F5 foundation, which is the one that was a 50-yard pour. To the right, you can see where we temporarily relocated the substation fencing and moved it to the right. And those are existing conduits there that we had to back ex all of this where this guy is standing. and then we're able to dig with an excavator for the large foundation. Here's the base footing for that F5 foundation. Once we've had it all prepped, and the guys are pouring, Donnie and his guys and Nate there. Here's the two small foundations that you saw us back excavating in the first photo. As you can see, there's a lot of existing grounding wire, as well as cable, as well as conduits. So the vac excavation was critical to ensure we didn't break anything or nobody got hurt. This is the pier for the large foundation with the 12 anchor bolts in it and the template. This is holding up a big steel monopole. Here we are cutting down the existing expansion or the new expansion site, getting it down to as close to subgrade as we can before we are. I mean, this is the portion that's not under the existing power line, so we're able to work there. Here we are drilling in a rock anchor. This one was obviously in a peculiar spot right on top of a cliff. Same here.
It's a good photo.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So the obviously this project is having a few of our divisions involved or disciplines involved with the heavy civil and the drilling, and then our concrete crews. There's Nick and
Hunter.
Yeah. Testing the rock anchors, so we performed all of that ourselves as well.
Some cross training, despite the first time those guys have done some testing.
Yeah, Jeremy, fortunately Jeremy has experience with all of this stuff, so that's worked out really well, and those guys are able to learn some along the way.
Yeah.
And here we are in the expansion yard. You can see in the background those that tripole structure right there. That's what's coming down, and behind those that tripole structure is where that steel monopole is going, and then those overhead lines right there are going to get transferred to the monopole. And we've also built, which you can't see in the picture, there's another new tripole structure that we've helped prep for a Velco. But this area right in the front of the picture is the expansion yard. These are the foundations we've been able to do before the closure, just because obviously we can't work under those overhead lines until they're out of the way. So yeah, it's we're fortunate, as you can see. 95% of our excavation is nice beach sand, and so that makes life a lot easier, especially when you have to hand dig. And once we get inside the expansion, the new yard, or the existing yard, excuse me, there's going to be quite a bit of hand digging, as well as vac excavating. So it's a nice job, and Jeremy and his guys up there are doing a great job. There's, we don't have a lot of experienced Velco guys on this project. Charlie Sucher has been there for most of it. He probably has the most experience of all the guys up there, but they're doing a great job, and Velco seems to be satisfied with the work we're doing to date.
Nice job, Ed. Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, I was up there the other day. Sounds like there's a pour scheduled for Monday on these piers.
There is, yep, to pour the piers. So once that's done, I think we're going to be able to get back in there. On the goal is right now on Thursday to get into some backfilling and be able to continue expansion yard. So it's good.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing your project with us here today. Good job to the sandbar team, and let's keep up the good work and keep working safe up there in Milton. Quick little photo from the archives. We had a derailment back in 2001, Westminster. Imagine just kind of getting the call and showing up to this and trying to figure it out. The stuff that we like to do, right?
5033, right?
Yeah, 5033.
Yeah, we did a lot of work with that locomotive when we were doing the rail plowing years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep.
That's right. Yep. There it is. Yeah, what a mess. A lot of big rigs in there. I'm sure it was a joint venture between us and the rail equipment themselves, and pretty much all hands on deck to try to recover and clean up. Some pretty cool photos of some old iron here. That's a good one. Was that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? all teamed up to help pull that bad boy out up the slope. Pretty impressive. Look how wet the conditions are.
Yeah.
Oh man. There it is, finally up and onto the bank. And then now the fun begins, where we start stabilizing the slope and trying to get everything out of the river as we can. Probably there weren't about environmental at that time. You can see some oil booms out there, and clean up, put stuff on poly and reestablish a slope, and then start working on getting the grades right for putting the track back together. You can see a lot of people working on this one. Anyone out there that worked on this one want to chime in? Feel free. This was before my time.
If you see a short little guy out there, that was me back then. So
2001, where you're like 12?
I was younger than that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. You're out there. Oh, April. Yeah, April 13th. Is that what I see here on this one? April time frame. Looks like we had to do a little drainage too. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Some old iron. There's Alan. Recognize that photo.
Yep. Yeah, there's quite a few pictures of him and my dad on the 5033 when they were doing all the rail plowing back in the day. See if I can dredge him up for a future meeting.
Yeah, that'd be
I think
good.
that might be Gene Trombley, maybe.
Is that Gene?
No, maybe.
Kind of looks like how Larry Sullivan walked in my kind of what came to my mind, but I don't know if he was there at that time. But value that good quality product right there. The end looks good. Pretty cool. But it will reflect. All right, so that's it for this week's meeting. If you did watch in a group setting, please kick over attendance to Tom. That'd be great to capture that. Let's remember to work safely, prioritize safety quality, especially when it comes to operating those mobile elevated work platforms. Again, our apologies for not quite getting the top of the meeting up and running properly, but again, the focus for safety is to not take unnecessary risk in mobile elevated work platforms. Please, if you need the training, let's get the training on site, and let's make sure we're tied into the basket. All feet are in the cage at all times, and remember those rescue plans. Let's not take unnecessary risks. Let's work safe. Let's work great as a team. Let's solve problems. Let's go out, kick some butt, and have some fun today. Have a great one.